Chosen one, pause for a moment. Not because something bad is about to happen, not because you're in danger, but because something inside you already knows this moment matters. You didn't land here by accident. You didn't stay by coincidence. And you didn't listen this far because you were bored. You stayed because your spirit recognizes alignment when it appears quietly. This message isn't here to rush you. It isn't here to scare you. It's here to steady you. There has been a subtle shift happening in your life recently, one that didn't announce itself loudly. No dramatic signs, no sudden fireworks, just a growing awareness that things don't feel the same anymore. You've noticed it in small ways, the way certain conversations no longer hold your attention, the way old patterns don't pull you in like they used to, the way you pause now before reacting, the way silence feels more comforting than noise. That isn't confusion, that's clarity forming. For a long time, you thought strength meant pushing harder, explaining more, holding everything together at all costs. But something in you has learned a different kind of strength. The kind that doesn't chase validation, the kind that doesn't argue with what it already understands, the kind that knows when to step back without guilt. You didn't become distant, you became grounded. And that grounding didn't come from comfort, it came from experience. You've walked through moments where you had to hold yourself together quietly, moments where you kept going without applause, moments where you chose restraint instead of reaction. Those moments mattered more than you realize, because every time you chose calm over chaos, every time you chose integrity over impulse, every time you trusted yourself instead of doubting your own instincts, you were reinforcing something deeper: self-trust. And self-trust changes everything. When you trust yourself, you stop forcing outcomes. You stop chasing certainty. You stop needing everything to resolve immediately. You let clarity arrive in its own time. That's why your life feels slower right now, but also steadier. That's why you're less reactive, but more aware. That's why you're not rushing, but you're not stuck either. You're in between, and that space is intentional. This phase isn't about external success yet. It's about internal alignment, because alignment always comes before movement. You may notice that opportunities now feel different. Not overwhelming, not chaotic, but measured. You're no longer pulled by urgency, you're guided by resonance. When something is right, your body tells you. There's ease instead of pressure. There's clarity instead of noise. There's calm instead of anxiety. That's not intuition suddenly appearing. It's intuition finally being trusted. And because of that, your future doesn't feel threatening anymore. It feels open. There will still be decisions ahead, moments that require courage, situations that test your patience, but they won't shake you the way they used to, because you're not responding from old survival patterns anymore. You're responding from awareness. You know when to engage. You know when to pause. You know when something costs too much of you. And that knowledge didn't come from theory, it came from living. You don't need to announce this change. You don't need to explain it. You don't need permission to honor it. This phase didn't make your life smaller, it gave it direction. And what's coming next won't require you to abandon yourself to move forward. It will meet you where you are. Clear, steady, and present. You're not behind. You didn't miss anything. You weren't meant to rush this part. You were becoming someone who could hold what's coming without losing yourself again. And now, you can.
And this is where it settles. Not with a sudden answer, not with a dramatic reveal, but with a quiet knowing that you no longer need to search the way you once did. You start to notice that your energy feels more contained, not smaller, more intentional. You don't explain yourself as much. You don't overextend to be understood. You don't chase alignment anymore. You recognize it. You understand now that stability isn't built by controlling outcomes. It's built by trusting your internal signals. You trust when something feels right. You trust when something feels off. And you trust yourself enough to respond accordingly. That trust didn't arrive overnight. It was built through moments where you chose awareness instead of urgency, where you chose restraint instead of reaction, where you stayed present instead of escaping discomfort. Those moments shaped you more than you realize. This phase didn't remove challenges from your life. It changed how you meet them. You no longer brace for impact. You assess, adjust, and move with clarity. You're not harder. You're steadier. You're not distant. You're grounded. And because of that, life begins to respond differently. Things align without force. Conversations feel clearer. Decisions feel cleaner. You stop asking, "What if I lose this?" and start asking, "Does this honor who I am now?" That shift changes everything. You don't need certainty to move forward anymore. You don't need guarantees to take the next step. You trust that whatever unfolds will meet you at the level you've grown into. You didn't rush this transformation. You didn't skip steps. You didn't miss your moment. You were becoming someone who could move forward without leaving themselves behind. And now you are. Not waiting, not chasing, not forcing. Just aligned. And from this place, something subtle begins to happen. You realize you're no longer reacting to life in real time. You're responding from a deeper layer, one that's already processed the lesson before the moment arrives. That's why certain things don't hook you anymore. Not because you're numb, but because you're clear. You notice how silence no longer feels empty. It feels informative. You sit with decisions longer, not out of fear, but out of respect for your own timing. You let clarity form instead of forcing conclusions. And the interesting part is, the world doesn't collapse when you slow down. It adjusts. People sense your steadiness. Some lean in, some drift away. You don't chase either response. You understand now that alignment doesn't require agreement. It requires honesty, with yourself first. You've stopped betraying your instincts just to keep things smooth. You've stopped shrinking to make situations easier. That doesn't make you rigid, it makes you precise. You're learning the difference between effort and strain, between commitment and over-attachment, between patience and self-abandonment. And because of that, your energy feels cleaner. You don't replay conversations as much. You don't second-guess every move. You don't need constant reassurance. You trust the process you're in, even when the outcome hasn't revealed itself yet. That trust didn't come from optimism. It came from evidence. You've already survived moments you once thought would undo you, and you did it without becoming bitter, closed, or disconnected from yourself. That matters. So now, when uncertainty appears, it doesn't feel like danger. It feels like space. Space for something new to form.
space for direction to clarify, space for life to meet you where you are now, not where you used to be. This phase isn't loud, it doesn't announce itself, but it's active, and it's still unfolding.